We're off.
Yes.
Lisa, I think you're on, right? Are you reading the first
Oh, I
one?
was waiting for the recording thing to show up.
It's on. Oh, it's not in the Zoom. I'm recording it on OBS on a.
Oh, okay.
And so that was a great start.
Yes, how fascinating. I messed it up. Welcome to the Cucumber New Contributors Ensemble. I'm Lisa, and I'm here in Vermont, and I am joined by Blaise in Massachusetts, Ariana in California, Tolu in Nigeria, and Matt in British Columbia somewhere.
He was recording this and just realized he's going to make an awful echo.
I'm making an echo?
No, I'm going to make an echo and I'm going to fix it.
So why are we here?
Well, in 2017, GitHub surveyed over 10,000 open source contributors, and just 3% of them were women. We believe that open source communities will be more vibrant, resilient, and effective if they include everyone. So we hold this space each week for anyone who is new to contributing to open source, especially people from groups who've historically been underrepresented in open source communities. Our goal is to provide a fun and welcoming environment where everyone can learn to contribute to open source. Tolu?
Ariana? I think, I can't remember if it was Ariana or Tolu who was going to do this last bit.
Okay, are you doing it?
Okay, I guess I'll do it.
Okay.
So we use an ensemble programming format and we follow these principles: safety over comfort, exploration and learning over perfection, equity over efficiency. And we're here to give space to people who traditionally been excluded from open source, even if that means going a little slower sometimes. So if you'd like to join us, you'd be very welcome. You can reach us at CucumberBDD on Twitter.
Excellent.
Yes, I can
So,
read.
Let's see, what are we doing? Matt, do you remember what we're doing today?
Well, overall, what we've been working on for the past several months is this little GitHub Action project, which is going to help the Cucumber organization with a problem around managing our contributors, because we have a permissive commit bit policy, which means that if you have a pull request merged, you are automatically given access to the committers team in the Cucumber organization on GitHub, which gives you the rights to push to the main branches on like most of the Cucumber repos. And that's we do that because we want to be welcoming and try and remove barriers to people to contribute. But it is a little bit of a sort of a security leak because we've actually got about 350 people in that team, and probably only about 30 of them are kind of like actively contributing. And so there are, about 250 or so GitHub accounts that potentially, if they got hacked, might start, might be able to put bad things into Cucumber. So what we'd like to do is be able to retire those people who haven't contributed in a while across to a different team. And so we've been building this little GitHub action that we can run periodically to scan the organization and move people into the right teams depending on how recently they committed. And last week we developed a test for it in the repo itself. So we are running it as a GitHub action, passing it the org name of a test GitHub organization, a real organization on GitHub.com that we created just for testing this thing, and passing a token that has administrative permissions on that repo. And we ran it and it worked. We watched it move. Blaise around from one team to another. But I think what we probably want to be doing next, we have got a map of things to do, and we might want to review it.
The color coding is yellow.
Well, yellow's like what we're doing, or Yeah, it's usually sort of work in progress, the yellow color. So it might be out of date.
It says parse a string expression of the duration, e.g. 30 seconds, 100 days, and then find a duration parsing library.
Yeah. Well, so I think we sort of switched tack actually, because we started doing maximum absence and then we realized that we couldn't really do that. We couldn't even test it until we'd done the organization name. And then we've done the organization name because we've got it working and we can set the GitHub org name here in the
great. Okay.
thing. So I think we can set that one to green. And we seem to have colored committer's team name orange as well, and add CI step for integration test. So I think we've done that. We've done the CI step for the integration test because that's working. But what about the committer's team name? So do we want to do this, or do we want to go back to doing the maximum absence? It's going to be kind of easier to test it if we can set what the maximum absence is, I think, because well, right now it uses a default, and the default is a year, which is a long time for us to wait if we want to do a test.
Do you think we should do it the other way around? Have it like default to 60 seconds and then manually enter a year, or?
It would be bad though if something went wrong and it used the default in production.
Oh,
yeah. I mean, it's kind of a sensible real world, default for a real world use case.
Yes.
But we could remove this default in here once we've got it coming in from the GitHub action. We could have it the settings sort of surfaced higher up. We could even make it mandatory, so you just have to specify it. And yeah, the things that are on the Miro there around parsing and stuff were just that I think we fancied, and this is something we could iterate to, but we fancied using a library so that you could just when you set up the configuration, you could just say 100 days or 30 seconds or something, and not have to like use a computery style way of expressing that duration. And let the duration parsing library figure out what it means. And there are a few around, so just sort of make a nicer user interface basically. But probably the first thing to do is just create that setting and see it work.
Yeah.
So although these ones are orange, should we leave these for now and come back to them?
Yeah.
Shall I mark that one as not orange for now? And then we can go over and do this one.
Yeah.
And what do we think? What do we think our first step would be? Like, what's the first task that we could realistically do?
Will you okay if you share your screen? Because I'm having issue entering the Miro.
If we want to use a parsing library, it seems like we have to find that first.
Well, I'm thinking we could iterate to using the parsing library, though. We could start by just allowing you to specify it as a number of milliseconds. Is it sharing the right screen, Tolu?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just need to move the Zoom window back onto this screen so that it's on the stream. So, yeah, I mean, the way we did it last time with the other setting was we add something into here. Oh, in fact, we've got one here already, which I guess we sketched in before, but we're not using it, are we?
I don't think I don't think the screen share is keeping up for me.
Action.yaml.
Yeah, it's not showing me action.yaml. Now it is.
Yeah, we've added this one already in the past, so we've got some of the work done. But then the next place it really looks is in this index.js, which is compiled from index.ts. And yeah, look, we've got a to-do here, read max absence from action parameters. So maybe that's the first thing that we want to do is pass that in, like the same way as we've done get input GitHub org name. We'll do get input, whatever that said. Maximum absence before retirement.
Yeah.
and pass that in, and then we can try and test it and see whether it works. Does that seem like a good next step?
Yeah, well, maybe the next one should be to run the tests.
Oh, shall I just do that right now? Do you mean just on locally?
Yeah, just to make sure everything still works. I don't know. It's superstition, I suppose.
It's always a good idea.
Well, they're running. Are the tests running now all the time, or just when
They
we're
run
here?
in CI. Yeah, they run on GitHub when we do a commit. Yeah.
Yeah, there's really no reason to think that they would fail if they worked the last time.
Always good to check.
Yeah, it's always
We just had there's some security vulnerability floating around in some Apache library, and it got noticed that we need to update. There is a Cucumber plugin for the Eclipse IDE, which has not been released for 3 years.
Wow.
Oh gosh.
And funnily enough, when we tried to send a pull request to upgrade that dependency, the whole build is failing because some Java runtime thing's out of date. Bit rot, basically.
Yep.
So it's always a good idea to run tests. I mean, in the JavaScript ecosystem, your bits are rotting
Yes.
every minute.
Yeah.
So in the mob timer, we can... I guess what we could do maybe actually is reflect what we've just said in here. So pass the value through from the action parameters. So what we need to do here is there's like another thing to do, which is update index.ts to read the input and pass to config. That's what we're going to do right now. And these are for the future. So I'll mark those as grey. And this one is what we're going to do now. And the wrong golden color, that one. And then where's the mob timer? Where's the mob timer? Let's put those on the same window.
That's not here.
So we can add people to the... Can everybody see this mob timer? If you go to mobtime.
I just put it in the chat window.
/cucumber. So I can add Ariana, Tolu, Lisa, Blaise, and Matt. And we can do randomize. And it'll tell us who's supposed to do what. So this says that I am navigating and Lisa, you are driving.
Oh no.
Is that oh no, I refuse, or oh no,
No,
I
I'm
feel
not gonna
nervous?
refuse. It just
Okay.
like makes me stressed.
Oh.
Oh God, and especially because I'm being attacked by Asian beetles. Okay.
So the goal is to read the input in index.ts. All right. So have you got your cursor in the file? I'm going to follow you, Lisa.
Is it this index? Okay, index.ts.
Yeah.
Where would I want to put my cursor?
Well, round about line 15, where we get the GitHub org name.
Oh, right. Okay. Are we going to add it after like line 16?
Yeah, I'd like add a line 15 and a half, as Tolu
15
says.
and a half. Okay.
Yeah. and make another const. And it's got this long-winded name right now. Maybe we can find a better name, but for the time being, it's called maximum absence before retirement.
You could copy it from the other. Okay.
Where is it?
I don't think we have it expressed anywhere in camel case.
Oh, maybe not in camel case.
Yeah.
Did I spell absence right?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's going to be equal to get input, and then you want to pass it the string that is in the action YAML. So over here, this one. So there's a convention here that they tend to use this.
Maximum absence before retirement?
Yeah, they tend to use this what I call kebab case.
Yeah.
For
kebab case
for YAML. So we're sort of switching between kebab case in the YAML and then.
Gotcha.
Okay, that looks good. I'm going to save it, and it's fixed I had
to a new line.
It reformatted it. So
Oh.
there's a thing. Maybe not everybody knows this. There's a thing we've got installed in this project called Prettier, and Prettier is an extremely opinionated JavaScript code formatter, and what we've got set up, at least on my machine, is that whenever you save a file, it uses Pretty to just reformat the code according to its rules. And one of its rules is how long a line should be. So sometimes it puts new lines in. And it's sort of, I like it because it just stops people squabbling about things that don't matter.
Yeah, but look at line 11. What's it doing there?
Well, it can't cut that because it's one string. We could do something to, build the string up out of multiple pieces, I suppose, if we wanted. Yeah.
No, that's
we
okay.
haven't given it any room to maneuver there.
But that does make sense. Okay.
So the only thing I've got coming up now is it's highlighting the variable maximum absence before retirement that we're setting the const on line 16 because it's not getting used anywhere. So now we could go down.
Do you see that?
Well, it depends on what your editor's seeing. If you look at my screen share, you may need some tools installed in your VS Code.
Well, I'm just using the one in the browser. I don't know how to make it come up in my VS Code.
Right. Yeah, we maybe need to look at that another time.
I mean, it's got squiggly lines.
You see the screen share because I guess because I've probably got some plugin installed that understands a bit more about TypeScript, gotcha. So it's looking at it and telling me that variable's unused. Gotcha. Which is handy to know.
I mean, if this is just sharing your screen, I don't know why I don't see the same thing that you do, but.
Well, it's actually like a feature of VS Code Live Share, is that your plugins and your sort of development environment in general is personalized. So my plugins and stuff don't leak out onto your machine. You're not. You can have your own keyboard shortcuts and stuff. Which is quite a nice feature, I think. Yeah. But it does mean you have to spend a bit of time setting your own environment up, and it's good at least so that you get a kind of something that just works when you just click that link. But it's probably not as good as it would be if you spent a bit of time customizing it. Okay. So what we need to do now is go down to line 21 and attack this to do.
Okay.
So we've actually done that, right? We've read the maximum absence from the parameters, but we need to pass it into the configuration object now. If you go to the round brackets on line 22, where we're constructing the new configuration object, and look inside, maybe if you press Command Space, does that do it? You should get some prompts about what, or if you hover over.
Do it.
So not. What do I press?
That?
Maybe even just start typing. But anyway, pass the maximum absence before retirement variable that we set on. Okay. Now you should be able to press Control Space and it'll finish it for you. There we go. Right, and that's also highlighting red on my machine because I guess it thinks the line is too long. Oh no, it's because it says argument of type string is not assignable to a parameter of type number. So we've said that we want our maximum absence to be a number, but we haven't. I guess we can't enforce that in YAML. At least I don't know if there's a way to do that with the get input stuff. Does anybody know?
This here, what would tell you that it's supposed to be a number? I mean, intuitively, I would think it's a number, but what says it's a number on action.yaml?
Well, I'm not sure if you can. That's what I was just wondering about.
Oh.
I'm going to just Google the API and see if you can specify the type. But I think we might need to just turn it into a number. Does anybody else know?
We can just turn it into a number. Maybe just type in number and wrap it around the maximum.
Yeah.
So where do I do that?
You could definitely do that on line 22 when you pass it into configuration. There's a special function called number with a capital N that you can call, and pass it the maximum absence before retirement. So you'd have sort of like two nested function calls, if that makes sense, Lisa. Inside of the configuration, you're going to call number, and then inside of number, you're going to pass the maximum absence. Does that make sense?
You're gonna tell me exactly what to type because I don't know.
Go to the left-hand side of the parentheses that are there on line 22.
Inside the parentheses.
Yeah, that's it. Just inside the parentheses, type capital N number, and then open another parenthesis, and then you'll have to close that parenthesis on the end of the line.
Okay.
That's it. And again, I think we need to save and reformat. And so what that's done now is it's forcing at runtime that string to try and get converted into a number, and JavaScript will have a good bash at it, and then if it can't, it'll throw an exception, and it'll probably do some weird things. JavaScript has some weird ways of converting things between things, but this should basically work now.
Yeah.
So where does it get the value for that number? I mean, I get it that it gets it from this variable, but where does this variable get data?
Let's try, if you go to the switch to the terminal, and just type node in the terminal, and we can get a REPL and play with it a little bit.
Okay.
Node?
Yeah, just type node in the terminal.
I'm in a read-only terminal.
No.
Really?
Okay, let me fix
that. I can request read-write access. Okay, I requested it.
Hang on.
Okay.
Try now.
Okay. Node?
Yeah.
And just hit enter?
Yep. And then you can, a bit like IRB in Ruby, you can just type stuff in. So you can try like number, and then pass it a string like 7, and that's figured that out. But if you say it doesn't know what that is, it's not a number.
Not a number. Okay.
So how's it going to know what maximum absence before retirement is?
Well, it's going to be whatever string the user puts on that setting in the action YAML, and
yeah. So I don't see anything in action YAML.
No, it's blank right now.
Hard true.
It's empty right now.
Oh.
Yeah. So we need to set that in our tests to try it out, I suppose.
Oh, in the test. Okay.
Yeah. So that's maybe I don't know if we want to make that part of the same loop that you're on, Lisa, or if we should switch drivers to test it.
But is there a way we can also add some check at this point, or a check that can help us validate that it's actually a number without getting none?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's a good point, Tolu. So maybe we could do the number conversion on line 16 instead, and then have an if statement that checks whether it's not a number. Yeah.
Do I put it on 17 or?
Well, let's start by moving that call to the number converter that's on line 22. Let's move that up to wrap around the get input call instead on line 16. So you're still going to... Maybe just leave it there for the minute, actually, and just do it again on line 16. If you see what I mean.
I did something wrong there.
I don't see what you did at all yet.
I just want to say number here, like that.
Not quite there, no. On the right-hand side. So that's just where you're saying what the variable is. But when you assign it, assign it to the result of calling number on get input. If you see what I mean. So on the right-hand side of the equals, type capital N number and open parentheses.
Right.
Yeah, so that means it'll always be a number. Yep, that'll work.
Okay.
I think you can probably reformat it yourself if you do... Oh, I don't know what it'll be on the browser.
Save?
Command-Shift-P?
What?
Command-Shift-P was what I was going to say.
That's
Never
what
mind,
I get when I do
I'll do it.
Shift-P.
There. Yeah, so now we've got it there. That variable is always typed as a number.
So we don't need 22.
Yeah, exactly. We don't need to do it on 22 anymore. But there is a chance that it'll be a nan, I suppose.
Did I ever add another parenthesis? I can't read this. It's so small. Let's see if I can make it bigger.
Yeah, we
Can't
have
make
got
it bigger.
one
Oh, I can make
extra.
it bigger. Okay.
We have got one extra. You could remove the one on line 23. Okay, and then save it. Right, so it's happy for us to pass it to it now because we've converted it to a number up there.
Okay.
But there is this risk that it could be a not a number. I wish I knew how to test these get inputs without actually pushing it to GitHub. But I don't know how to do that. I'm kind of tempted to not put the check in and then change the test to have a bad string and see what happens.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Should we try that?
Yes.
And then maybe that can be the end of your turn, Lisa.
Okay, so now's the end of my turn.
No, we're going to add a failing test for the thing that Tolu suggested.
Test?
No, we're going to go into the .github folder, the workflows, and there's a test.yaml there, which is where we actually run it in GitHub Actions. That's it. And down on line 12 is where we call the action. We should probably express that a bit more clearly, like I can add a name. Right. So what you can do is on line 15.5, you can add another parameter that is the maximum absence before retirement next to the GitHub org name.
So what's the difference between not adding name and adding name?
No difference. You don't. It doesn't force you to add a name. It gives it a label. I think it displays it in the UI when the step runs. So you can, if you want to, you can make a sort of human readable label for it. And then, well, how about we just set this to like a silly value, Lisa, like, something that won't be able to be parsed into a number.
I don't know, like ABC or something like that?
Yeah.
Something else.
Sure.
Should I put in quotes?
I don't think you need to. Yeah. Right. Great. And then let's commit that. So we have to get out of the node process. And actually, let's make sure we run all the tests because that will compile the JavaScript as well. So if you do npm test in the terminal.
And did this auto save or do I have to save something?
It looks saved to me. Normally when you look at the tab in the editor, instead of an X you see like a bubble.
Oh, okay.
If it's not been saved, so it looks like it's been saved.
What does the bang in the tab mean?
I don't know.
So yeah, before.
Oh.
Is that the
YAML
like
bang.
icon for YAML?
Really? Oh wow. That's really funny.
I wonder why
Where do you
that
see
is.
It's exciting. It's because it's exciting.
It's exciting because you never know whether it's going to work if you've got all your indentation correct or not. Most of the time,
hooray.
not.
That pass. Oh, it's still doing stuff.
Wait, did you guys say Bing? I was wondering, what are you guys looking at?
Bang is
Up
the
in the
exclamation.
tab.
Sorry,
YAML.
it's what old people call the exclamation mark.
Oh, people don't call it that anymore?
No, they have they have some sort of emoji for it, I think.
The youth.
The youth. Yeah.
So okay, so let's do a commit. Are you comfortable driving to do the commit, Lisa?
If you tell me what to do.
Right. Type git add dot, which is going to add everything, and then you can actually type GC in my terminal because that's short for git commit. And just press enter.
Cool.
And with any luck, that's going to open up. Oh, I've got it wrong because it's got Jim Shaw in it. Right, let's fix that. Hold on. I need to change that. So first thing I need to do, if I delete that, I think it should not. Aborting due to empty commit message. Great. Right, so I'm going to type git mob Lisa Blaise, Tolu, Ariana. Because you're called BP for some reason.
Oh, okay.
Yay.
And then, right, try GC again. Yeah. And what it should do is open up the commit window, the commit file in the editor, so we can type in a commit message. So what would we say about what we just did? We added the maximum absence, past the maximum absence input.
It's not showing me that file.
Is it not? Oh, maybe I need to like call you over here. Does that work?
There it is. Okay.
Yeah. So what I'd say what we did was we pass maximum absence from action input to config, into config or
maximum
something.
absence?
Yeah. I don't know if you want to give it the whole name.
Oh, I don't know.
You're supposed to try and keep this headline of a git commit message to 50 characters, so it doesn't give you a lot of room.
Max. Okay.
Pass max absence into config.
Config?
Or something. Yeah.
Like that?
It hasn't updated at my end yet, but I hope it's coming. I only see the word pass. What does all the people see in this file?
I see pass max.
Yeah, it's incredibly
I
slow
have
coming over to
fiber
my
internet.
machine.
Why is it?
Me too. I don't know what it's doing.
I can see the whole thing now.
I mean, I think it's like making sure everybody, all of us all around the world can see it, maybe.
I'm going to have to learn how to do this in the actual VS Code if that's faster. But anyway, that's for another day.
It actually looks the same in real VS Code.
Oh.
If you watch switch to the Zoom screen share, Lisa, and you'll see what it's doing. It's like one character every 2 or 3 seconds coming through.
I know, and I went backwards and retyped it, so that's going to be bad.
Oh.
It's not doing justice to your incredible typing pace.
I know. My
Exactly.
backup skill is wasted.
This is like 3 words per minute or something.
I mean, do I need to like save it or something?
I don't know.
No, I think it really is checking every copy, every outstanding copy. I'm going to close mine to see if it helps.
I can actually see the whole thing.
What's that, Ariana? You can see the whole thing?
Yeah.
Well, what I ended up typing was pass max absence into config. So I backspaced a bunch.
Well,
not knowing.
We'll get there in the end.
I wonder why that's so much slower than the other stuff I did.
Oh, Tolu, you've left the VS Code. Were you worrying it was just of you?
Just to see if it's going to get a little bit faster.
Yeah, it hasn't made any difference. It feels like it's something about this file, like the file in the Git stuff, that it finds more difficult, because it's not done it with any of the others, but I've seen it do it with this one a couple of times. And look, it's forgotten about the whole co-authored by thing as well, which is annoying. I wonder if it'll let me add that while you're typing. It will.
That's so weird.
The hint in the terminal.
Now it's changing in my view. And all the co-authored by. I didn't have that before.
It must be so complicated to build this stuff, right, and test it.
Why this particular thing when all the other stuff was okay?
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
Now it's backspacing.
Still needs work. I'm kind of tempted to just save it how it is and close the file. We can use git commit amend to change it.
That's true.
I'm going to try, because it is kind of a bit painful, isn't it? Let's see what happened.
I feel like such a bottleneck.
No, you're not. Not at all. It's not you.
I think you need to do more practice with your typing. That's the problem. Your typing is just too slow. Let's see if I can change it now. So what did you say? Pass maximum absence?
I said pass max absence. to config. Now I can see what you're typing just fine.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh,
Okay, right. So that's done. So we can push it and we can watch what happens. When it runs, because this is us testing it, trying to parse a bad string, right? So what do we think it's going to do?
So you want it to fail?
We do.
I
We
would
do really,
think
yeah.
it would just fall over, but I can't make it a number, so that's gonna make some
It
kind
didn't.
of error.
It's passed.
Hmm.
No.
It just worked.
Did we use that for anything? Maybe because we didn't use it, it didn't do anything with it?
Oh, well,
We do use it because we pass it into the configuration, which is
input,
then
and
going
then
to
what do-
work out
Where do
what
we
the duration
use?
is.
Where do we use this get input thing?
Well, it starts in index TS. We set it in the configuration object, and then we pass the configuration object into retire inactive contributors.
we don't have any
And
like
then
skip or
we say cutoff date equals today minus configuration dot maximum absence before retirement.
it should blow up there.
Where do you
Well,
see that?
Here.
15. 9:15.
Oh,
Yeah. So I'm guessing that when you call today minus, today's a little helper class that I wrote, which doesn't do very much. It just
Well,
creates a new date and then subtracts whatever that value it calls value of. So I wonder what happens if you call value of on not a number. Maybe you get 0. Can you call dot value of in the terminal on that number ABC?
oh, okay.
Whoever's typing in the terminal.
what? Oh, sorry, I started typing. Am I supposed to be typing or not?
Well, you are the driver.
I know, but somebody else typed. I didn't type that. Value of, okay.
We need to call it. We need to call value of.
Oh, so
So
Like
put
that?
yeah, like that. But we need to press up to get the. Oh my gosh, we're in a mess now. I'm not sure if that's going to work because we've got too much stuff. Try again. Press up.
Stop.
Press up. There you go. Yeah, now press enter.
Oh, not a number.
Oh, nice.
So it's still not a number.
number.
But then what happens if you do to like 5 minus that?
Oh.
I think it's going to just give you 5. No. 5 on the outside because we're doing today minus. Today's going to be a number, and we're doing today minus not a number. So if you do 5 minus that, yeah,
Still not a number.
still not a number. What happens if you do new date of all of that?
New date? Like that?
Capital space capital D, new space capital D date, and then put in NAN into there. It would just be a shortcut, wouldn't it?
Put NAN here?
Yeah,
Yeah.
a capital N. I think it'll let you. I think it'll let you do that, will it? And then you need to close the
gosh, dang it,
parens.
I didn't.
Just try it one more time. Press up and try it one more time. That's it. Yeah.
Invalid date.
forgiving. Now I have 2. Oh.
You're so close.
Yeah.
What should I do now? Just delete
Just delete
that
that
one again?
paren and try again.
Invalid date.
Okay, so I'm surprised that we didn't get that error. Invalid
Yeah.
date.
It must not be getting that far. It must be following it, taking a different path. So,
Well, unless when you create the configuration object, it uses
the default.
It uses the default. I'd be surprised if it did that.
Which file does it do that in?
Open up the configuration.ts file. Am I not following you? So it's got a default value, right? See the equal sign on the
365, this
right hand
one?
side, yeah. and maybe it's
Do you think
defaulted
it's
to that.
using the default and not ever
Well, we don't know.
writing it?
So one thing we could do is we could
That's what I thought.
log the configuration when it starts, and then we'd know.
Where do I do that?
If you go to index TS, you could add a line just before line 23 and say console.log and then that's a function, so you'd put round brackets, and then if you pass an object containing the configuration variable, so make squiggly brackets inside of the round brackets, and then inside of that put the word configuration, then that's it, and I'll save that and it'll tidy up the indentation and stuff. Then what we should see is the configuration printed on the console when the action runs.
Okay.
So right now, until we've figured out how we can test this run function locally with these get inputs, and there must be a way to do that, but we don't know how. I think what we need to do is commit this or run the test so that we build the JavaScript, commit it and push it, and then we'll see what's happening. And then I think it must be time to, you need to press Control D. That sends it a like terminal break thing, whatever it's called, a SIGINT. Yeah, so run npm test to build all the JavaScript.
Oh, it's further up than I thought.
And then we'll make a commit, and then I think we need to switch drivers, don't we? I want to retire as navigator apart from anything else. And yeah, it feels like we're actually trying to do a second task here, which is figure out why it doesn't fail. I would really like to know how to test these things.
One would almost need like a dry run flag or something like that.
So did we see something come out on the console? Oh, I have to look at this debug console.
I think I might know how to do it. Yeah, we just need to wait for this to run, wait for this to finish. This, and what that's done is it's filled the dist folder up with the latest stuff. So now we need to commit it. So do the little dance of git add dot and then gc.
I don't know, I've lost my terminals somehow. Somebody else might have to do that. It's just like blank down here.
You can do that.
That's weird.
And then maybe I'll type the commit message as well.
Yeah, Lord knows that was a terrible thing. So let's not do that again.
So it was just adding some debugging basically. Oh, it's even really slow for me. Really slow.
Serious.
It's spelled add. There's something about this file, isn't it? Is it because it's really long?
That might be.
Because it's got all this.
Oh Lord, what is all that?
In from the. It's because of all the built JavaScript. I bet that's what it is. It's because it's a long file.
Oh, it's compiled. Yeah, it's built. Yeah.
I know how to fix that. I know how to fix that. So I just need the letter A at the beginning. Save it, close it.
So what is all that AACA? What is that?
Right. So in the dist folder, we have compiled JavaScript, compiled down from the TypeScript that we're writing in.
Oh.
And it looks a bit like the JavaScript the TypeScript that we've been writing, but it's compiled into JavaScript by a compiler, so it's quite ugly.
What does AACA mean?
But the map,
I think it's encoded.
is like almost binary data, I guess, that maps back from the JavaScript code to the TypeScript source. So if you get a stack trace, if you get an error when it runs, it's able to give you the line number of the TypeScript where you wrote the bug, not the compiled JavaScript line where the bug, really happened. So that map file is a map between the compiled JavaScript and the TypeScript source, and that map file format is ugly, and sort of normally you wouldn't commit these files into source control, but just because of the way GitHub Actions runs, it needs you to have committed everything to source control.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah, it's a bit annoying.
Not run across
and I'm
that
just
before
thinking.
myself. Well, I've never worked on TypeScript, so I guess that's why.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I can change it today. I think I've got a thing. No, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to change it today. Oh, and I've just locked our process. Yuck. Okay. Yeah, I was just thinking about why it was doing that, because it's showing the whole git diff, and I think that's what I need to fix, but I'm not going to do that in front of you all. I'll do that between now and next time.
I wanted to say I have to head out right now because I have to go to another meeting.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I'll probably ask because I really want to know if this next test fails or not. Because I think it's taken a default. That's what I thought made it pass.
Yeah.
But now I'm curious if this will make it fail. But okay, I'll see you guys next week, or I think late 2-3 weeks, right after.
I'm away for 2 weeks, but we need to discuss this. Obviously you haven't got time to be part of it, but we can put the outcome of the discussion on Slack. I'm away for 2 weeks, so I won't be able to record. I think I should still be awake because I'm going to be in Europe, so I might be able to join in, but I'm not going to have all my recording gear and streaming gear with me.
Okay.
So we're probably going to go off air for a couple of weeks, but we could still meet up and do this.
That'd be nice
if people want to. I think it'd be nice to keep the rhythm up. Yeah, but anyway, so I'll hopefully see you next week, Ariana.
Okay, yeah, I'll come next week.
Great.
All right, see you next week.
Get out.
Cheers. Take care.
So, what is our next task?
I lost track of what just happened.
Well, we did a git commit, which has just got some debugging in it.
But we still don't know what's causing it to pass.
We don't.
No, we don't. No, we don't.
And what was in the console? I never saw anything in the console.
Well, we haven't run it yet because I've just pushed it. So, if we go to
actions. Duh.
Yeah, we have to wait for it to run. I might have a clue about how we can run the test for real.
Is there a way of putting breakpoints in?
Well, not when it runs in here.
Okay.
That'd be pretty wild. But it should be somewhere in this runs. Yeah, there we go. So it's printed it. Look, it's got it with a configuration of Nan.
Oh, wow.
So it's definitely not using that.
Well,
wait a minute. It is using it because it's got the Nan in it. So what's it doing with that? What does it do with maximum abscess for return?
Guess not.
Ariana's back.
I was wrong. I thought the meeting started at 12. It's actually 12:30. So I had to leave right at 12:30, not 12. So I'm happy. I really wanted to see this.
So
that's what. Can you see on my screen, Ariana? If you look at the screen share, that's what happened when it did the debugging.
So it still passed though?
Yeah.
So
yeah, we're actually more confused now than we were.
Can you show me where in the code it uses? Show me again where in the code it uses the maximum absence. Actually does some action on it. Or with it?
Yeah, it's in this retire inactive contributors function. And it's here where it tries to do today minus to get the cutoff date.
And it doesn't get an error from that.
Yeah.
So I'd like to add a test around this function and try testing it with a nan configuration, I suppose. But that might be quite a bit of work.
Well, I mean, it's it seems like it's worth understanding.
Mhm.
In other words, yeah.
Well, so
I think we've
go on, Tolu.
Yeah, I'm saying this looks like a very good something to take home and try to solve like an assignment.
Yeah, to try and
Okay.
figure out the puzzle. That's a good idea.
That's a really good. That's you want me to write up an issue?
Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
So what I think we need to switch navigator, and maybe the next navigator can help take care of deciding what to do next, because I'm actually as the current navigator, I'm not sure what we should do next.
I don't want to drive anymore.
No. Well, let's rotate and we can discuss it. So what we actually have is Lisa is you as the navigator now. You've graduated. You've been promoted.
Yes. And Tolu's the driver.
So what should we do? We've got this puzzle about how it behaves when we don't give a decent string. We haven't got a nice way of testing that, which is annoying. Maybe what we could do is add a test around the configuration class that does throw an error when you try and configure it with a bad value.
There you go.
That way would prevent.
And then that way we can write a sort of a small focus test around the bit that we want to fix.
So
what do you think, Navigator?
Well, yes, let's just test that that value is actually, that variable actually has a number in it. But I don't know how to tell you to do that. And I don't even know what file to do it in.
Well, what I was suggesting was, if we look in here, what we're ending up with after line 21 has run is a configuration object that has a bad value in it. And what I'm kind of proposing we do is we change what happens on line 21 so that we can't have the configuration object does some validation, and if it gets given a bad value for maximum absence before retirement, it throws an exception on line 21. So the configuration object becomes responsible for checking that it's got good integrity.
So configuration only contains the value that we put in max absence for retirement?
Yeah, right now. The goal is that it would also contain a couple of other things like the alumni team and the committers team name and things like that. It's sort of making space for that.
I mean, shouldn't we check what's in max absence for retirement?
Yeah, and I'm thinking that it would be good if the configuration object was responsible for that. So we could add a test for the configuration object to say, if you construct it with a maximum absence before retirement that's not a number, then it throws an exception and tells you.
Why wouldn't you do it when you do the get input though? Why it's like, did I get any did I get a good number here?
Like validate the input?
Yeah.
Yeah, we could do it up here, but the thing is we don't know how to test this run function, and so it makes me nervous to add more code into this run function. Okay. Whereas we do know how to test the configuration
So the
object.
run
That would be quite
function-
simple.
The run function ends. Where does the run function end?
It's just these lines here.
Okay, but where we line 17, you can't have a next line that says, I don't know.
Oh yeah, you totally could, but we don't have any way to test drive that change because we don't have any tests for this function other than committing and pushing to
sorry.
GitHub.
Okay.
So I want to sort of try and like keep the amount of code we put in this function as small as possible and have it delegate off to other objects that we can test. So I was thinking that the configuration object could be a good home for that responsibility, that it validates the values it's given when it's constructed.
Where is the configuration object?
If you command click on its capital C name, you should get taken to it. Does that work for you?
Yeah. I think I have a little idea of why it is still passing because
Oh yeah.
yeah, if we trace down the code to the retirement retire
follow Tolu.
inactive contributors.
Yeah.
At this point, even if the code this line fails, we are not actually throwing any error. So because if this line fails, we just move out of the loop.
So, but when we try and create a date here, would it not throw an exception here? That's what I was kind of surprised by.
Yeah, so we should maybe kind of write a test for this.
Yeah, maybe
class.
that's a good idea as well. Yeah, find out what today minus does when you give it a nan. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be into that as well. Yeah.
So that's better than just checking maximum absence retirement to be for whether it's a number or not.
I think it'll probably give us more insight about why we're getting this behavior that's mystifying us. Yeah.
Okie dokie. So where do we do that?
Well, the convention we've got is to have a .test file sitting next to each of the files. So I suppose we need to add a today.test.ts.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
So I should create a new file with today.test.ts.
Yeah, sorry, the navigator doesn't know what to tell you to do. Create a new file with a test for that file, please.
Okay. Let's go. So describe today. Then we can say.
I tend to just pass the actual type here and then say .name on it, because then it'll ask you to import it, and also if you ever renamed it, it'll still work. If you see what I mean. So rather than passing a string, no, more like this. So because there's an actual type called today, and then if you call .name on it, it'll return the string today anyway.
Oh yeah.
Right, and then you can import it.
Yeah, some kind of weird to string. Makes sense.
What's the describe function?
You'll need to import it, Tolu. If you click over it, you can add the import.
I'm not getting the squiggly
oh, you're not?
Stuff.
Yeah, I see the squiggly on your screen share, but
okay, I'll do it. There we go.
Okay.
So the describe function, Ariana, is it's a way of writing tests in this test framework that we use called Mocha, and it was basically a way to like add a container for a series of tests, so you can say what the tests are going to be about, and then when it prints the output, you'll see it sort of indents the output, which reads quite nicely.
Okay, so it's only for JavaScript or TypeScript too.
Well, it came from Ruby actually. The original one was called
RSpec. It seems familiar to me.
Yeah, it came from David Chilimsky and stuff in the RSpec team. Yeah.
So we imported today. I don't remember what is all in today, but why is it today.name? What is that?
Well, because we want it to describe the class, and when you'll see when we print the output, it'll
It is a number. Or it fails.
Well,
if
so
it's
what was
not.
it like? It
Or if
handles.
it fails if it's not a number. Is that what we want to do?
Yeah, we'll do. Yeah, that would work.
Should return a valid date.
Returns an error message. Yeah.
Should return invalid date.
Well, we want to say if it's given not a number as well, don't we? Because that's important.
Yeah. Date if given
Yeah.
I mean it. Yeah. Okay. So it's going to be not a number in any case. If it's not a number, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Whether it's hieroglyphics or alphanumeric characters or what.
It's not a number.
Okay. Help me out, ensemble, please. I don't know what to tell them to type there.
Oh.
It around. I'm just trying to keep on top of the reformatting because it's showing errors in my
Blaise,
code.
what should we put there? Or Ariana, somebody help me out, please.
So the method on today is called today.minus. So we need to call that. That's the one we're using.
Today minus.
So it's a static method, so we don't have to.
Is today like this the day including the timestamp to the second? What's in today?
Right, I'm not sure what that does either.
So today is a class that has minus. So minus is a static method. That's when you pass in duration.
Okay, new date. Oh, so it is the date and the time. Okay. Cool, thanks.
So we can say, oh my God, sorry. So we can say const num, not a number. Oh, we can just inline it, no big deal.
I'm glad you can navigate yourself, Tolu.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be interested just to run that and see what happens, see if it throws an exception.
Oh, we have no assets yet. Imports assets. So should sets dots equals.
Well, what do we want it to do? Do we want it to equal or do we want it to throw an error?
Yeah, if we try to maybe, yeah, that's true. So we want to say get.
I'm not even sure if it's rejects because it's not a promisey function. I think it's probably just throws that you want. Yeah. You need to pass throws a function that calls the code that's going to have an error, because otherwise the error will happen as you call throws rather than. So you need to still call throws, but you need to pass it like a little.
Help me here. I haven't done.
No, you still call assert.throws, but inside it, the first argument is a function that calls today.minus_nan. So you just want to put like,
this.
Yeah, that's it. So that's it. So it can, so that throws can call the function when it wants to, and put a try catch around it. That's it.
Okay.
Wait,
So we could put
What
an
about
it
line
dot
five?
only on this, and then we can run it.
I didn't
What's that,
understand.
Ariana?
Oh, never mind. I thought it was supposed to be if, but it's supposed to be it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you'll see when we run the tests, actually, if you because you know how to run them, Tolu.
Yeah, so what should I run? NPM test
npm
or?
run test : unit.
Okay.
I think you need to say npm run test : unit. Yeah.
So before, we didn't have any tests for today.
No,
And why was that?
because I refactored the code and pulled that class out, but I did not add any tests around it. I relied on the existing tests. There we go. So we've got a failing test because it didn't give us an exception and we wanted it to.
Yeah.
So interesting that it wouldn't give an exception.
Oh.
So today is something we made up. It's not.
Yeah. It was just because if you look inside the function, there was a bunch of ugly code around, like juggling the date to work out what the cutoff date should be, and I put a pull request in a few weeks ago to refactor that out into this class, so that when you read the main retire inactive contributors function, it reads a bit more nicely, because it just says today minus that maximum absence.
So
But it's tricky, this stuff, trying to get the naming right.
Now we want to make it throw an error message. But
Yeah, I guess we do.
that in today, or we do that in some other?
Well, this is the way we were writing the tests around, so I
Yeah.
suppose we do, yeah.
Okay.
Can you make it past Tolu? Do you know what to do?
Yeah, so we can do, I have maybe invalid number because we're passing
Yeah,
line.
or a valid duration, I guess, actually, strictly
Yeah.
speaking, isn't it?
Then we can kind of like try to add some check at this point. So I'm wondering if this duration extends number, why not just, this perform the check itself, because we already say, okay, duration is a type of number.
Yeah. So we could push the responsibility into the duration class. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, this should have, done that already for us.
Yeah. Did we actually use this? I don't think we did we? I think we just used... So there's this thing with TypeScript I realized about the other day, that if you do these types and you say that they're numbers, they're sort of interchangeable. You have to... it's a bit complicated, but it shouldn't be letting us pass a number in here at all.
Yeah,
we should only be able to pass a duration in.
So I mean, when you have a duration and you have a date and you're subtracting the duration from your date, but how does it know if that's seconds or minutes or days or what?
Well, that's why we tried to model it as a duration class, because the duration should be it should sort of normalize it so it's always in milliseconds.
Oh, so duration will do that. Okay.
Yeah, it should do. But we've got a bit of a gap here with the TypeScripting, that it's not actually forcing us to pass in a duration, because not a number shouldn't really be a valid duration.
Right. So the class is there. We're passing in somehow this configuration to the today class. How are we doing that? How is the configuration value getting to this? Or is it?
Yeah, it's here. Yeah. That's it, Tolu.
Okay, but I get it that it's today minus configuration. So where does configuration get plugged into that file, that class today?
On line 15 here,
Well, that's
we
not the
have,
class of today. That's the class that's.
we have today dot minus, then we pass in the configuration.
But is that? I don't have really good words, but I would assume that what happens here is we pass this configuration value of max absence, this duration
Mhm.
value, to the today class, and then the today class sends us back something. But in the today class, I didn't see anything where it took in a parameter that was passed to it, because I don't speak TypeScript. Maybe I just don't understand where it is.
Yeah, if you look at this minus method, it's taking a duration on line 4. And that's what, and we pass in the
it is
max
taking
absence
that.
there.
Okay.
Yeah. But TypeScript's not stopping us from passing a not a number in as a duration, which is surprising, but it isn't.
Right. So.
I mean, we could definitely add a guard clause on line 5 here, right, Tolu, to throw an error if duration is nan, and that would get the test to pass. And then we could maybe look at moving the check somewhere else.
But what will make it have the error message?
So we can do something like if there is number dot
Yeah,
is
I don't know.
duration. We assume it's an integer, right? Something
Yeah.
or number.
Yeah.
We can throw if not or number. So, invalid duration.
Okay. Throw or
Thank you.
thrown? Is it supposed to be throw or thrown?
Oh, throw. Yeah, thank you.
Do you want me to reformat, or can you do it locally?
I don't think I can do it. It's not.
Okay.
Okay.
There we go.
Nice.
So should we run the test again?
Yes,
Okay.
please.
Ariana, it's 12:30.
Please pass. Please pass.
Don't forget.
Great.
Ah,
Yay!
nice.
Way to go.
Cool.
Hmm.
And on a good note. Okay, I'll see you guys
Yeah.
next week. I'm glad to see this though.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
See you, Ariana.
Bye.
So should we do it with a good value now? Or we're really out of time though.
We are out of time. I'd quite like to make a commit with this because we've got a passing tester. I think we should get rid of the only on the tests so that we
that's true.
we run all of them. Well, while the tests are running, we could have a little scratch retrospective and just talk about how it's been. Blaise, you didn't get to drive. Are you still there even? All I can see is foliage.
Oh,
Lost Blaise.
Oh yeah, this is what Ariana was asking about. You see the output we have here? This is what the describe and its do. Is you can sort of make it read like documentation about the class.
All right. Yeah.
So here's the one that we just added. Today should return an invalid date if given a nan. So we've just added that, and it sort of comes up as documentation. Ooh.
Oh.
We've got an exception thrown in our tests now.
That's weird. Why didn't we get an error or have a valid?
So maybe our tests aren't actually.
Or should it be using what value should it use for the duration at this moment when we run our tests?
It should be using a default. Yeah, I think we're going to have to come back to this. I don't think we've got time to fix it right now, but we know what we need to do next.
I'm totally confused.
What
Totally
What are
lost.
you confused about, Lisa?
Well, we made it use ABC, and that test failed, and then we made it pass. But now this is failing. What is failing now? Why? What is?
So what's failing now is the cucumber test, the integration tests,
Oh.
which are using the and you know, now we've changed the way the little unit, the today class, works and made it throw errors if it's given a bad duration that it doesn't like. And so presumably the cucumber tests are also giving a bad value for the duration, but we never knew before because we didn't have this validation happening inside the model.
Oh.
So
Okay.
that seems to be what's happening, but
so they're two different durations.
There's another rabbit hole to go down here to figure out what this is. So I'd still like to commit this, even if it's making the build fail. I don't mind. I think we should just push it.
Okay.
I think we'll figure it out.
Sounds good.
It's interesting, all this. It's like this whole thing around like taking input parameters from the outside world and then making sure they're sort of they meet your assumptions so that then the rest of your code can rely on those assumptions and not have to have lots of defensive if statements everywhere. It's interesting.
Yeah.
So should we git add dot and right, git commit. Now let me just try this. I'm just going to see if I can get the defaults I use for commit template. No, that's all right. So let's try, yeah, so maybe if I do git commit rather than GC, maybe it'll come up with a smaller, it doesn't show the diff, right? So now we can type in here in the same way, I think. So GC is a shortcut which also prints the diff in the editor window, and because all that JavaScript makes it really big, so I think we can type in here now.
Okay.
Are you here, Tolu? Are you in the file? Yeah.
So we successfully wrote a test, a unit test for the invalid duration.
And implemented it. Yeah. But for some puzzling reason, it's making the cucumber test fail.
You think the test we added is making the cucumber test fail?
Yeah. Well, it's not the test, it's the behavior that we test drove.
Yeah.
Are you going to write a message, Tolu? Do you know what to write?
Oh, what am I saying? It's different from what you have on your screen. I'm seeing the whole commit, and on your hand, it's kind of.
You should be able to type the commit message here. Can you type something there?
Let me try. Okay.
Blah, blah, blah. I see blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, that was me writing.
Yeah, I see that.
Can you replace it with something about what we just did?
Yeah, like added a test for invalidation. Is that what we did?
We didn't just add a test. We made it so
it
that
pass.
So what we're doing is we're throwing an exception if the duration is invalid.
E durations. Oh my god. Invalid. Not a very good typer. Okay.
Cool.
Yay.
the duration.
Yeah, and I'm going to add at the bottom here.
Oh.
Oh.
There's good homework.
Yeah, it's true.
Right. Well, I wonder if we ever got anybody on the Twitch stream. No, well, there's one viewer. Who are you, viewers? Put something in the chat, unless it's maybe me.
Oh.
Thanks, everyone, and I'm sorry we've run over and we haven't got time to retrospect, really. Blaise is totally gone.
He said be right back on the chat, but...
Did he?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll stop the recording here and then we can chat about what we're going to do next week when I'm away.
Okay.